This week we come back with a Resurgence as we talk to Rob Buchheit. Take a ride with us, strangers, as we crash land into the land of awesome indies. Can I get a witness? This is more. This and more shit.
Drive up.
On episode 79 of the Indie Game Riot.
It was so good up until then. Indie Game Riot! Everybody, this is Josh, and we are on episode 79. As you can see, I am here with Tech and Rob Buchheit. He is taking the place of Rev. Well, not really taking the place, but Rev's just not here, so fuck it. Rob, though.
Whooping cough.
Whooping cough. What a pussy. Yeah. Rob here is actually the developer of Project Resurgence. If you remember, we talked about it on the previous Peep Show segment, but we finally got him on the show. And we're going to interview him because it's an awesome game. We're all super excited about it, and he's very close to getting that. That I can't think of words, but the goal is what I'm trying to say. Working for on Kickstarter. So this week, Rob, I'm assuming that you are working on the game.
Correct.
If you're not, I'm going to be totally honest here. We fucked up and didn't record.
Yeah.
And didn't record.
Oh, you didn't record it?
Yeah, that's why we're doing this again. Rob's sitting here the whole time. He's like, "Why are we?" I feel like we talked about this again. No, we're doing this again.
Yeah, we're doing it over.
We forgot to record, so we're acting like this. But you know what? We're completely transparent with you, ladies and gentlemen. You know our reputation. We will admit to our mistakes. Rob has been. This is the week. We're gonna make this short. Rob has been developing Project Resurgence and stressing over the Kickstarter because they're so close with 5 days to go, and y'all should go support it now because it's an awesome game, which we'll talk about later at the end of the Indie News Injection during the interview. Tech got a computer, ripped out the hard drive, put a new one in, and he's going to be working on the Indie Game Riot free game that we've been working on. There's this hard drive, as he showed it before. I have a boring life. Snow is gone. My foot still hurts, but not as bad. Indie News Injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an Indie News Injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
All right, this week on Indie News Injection, the very first. Why did I say it like I'm from Maryland? The very first from Maryland.
I heard furry something.
Or Virginia. Furry, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Indie Game Riot is now the furry podcast. The very first piece of news that we have today is something called the Sega Common Room. It showed up on PC Gamer Weekender. I'm actually not too familiar with the Weekender from them, but what's different from the regular PC Gamer thing. But anyway, the point is, Sega Common Room is really cool because it gives up-and-coming indie developers kind of a platform to give certain people the first chance to play their games. It gives them a platform through PC Gamer, which has a lot of readers and a big audience and everything like that, to showcase their games to people throughout the media and everything like that. And right now they're actually asking for indie devs, so get on that up there, and also the indie devs in the chat. There are four of you actually. They're all indie devs. I just realized they're all indie devs in the chat. But it's kind of cool for us too, Tech and I, because people like us can be like, "Hey, we checked that out before anyone else knew about it." And Tech being the hipster,
yes, especially because we went to London to go watch it.
Yeah, Tech being the hipster.
Yeah, it is in London.
Yeah.
So for all of you UK viewers, hey,
because our budget's that big to send you to London.
Yeah, send us to London.
But it's still pretty cool. It gives you an opportunity to get your game out there in front of the whole industry. So go check it out. We'll leave a link. I'll put a link in the live chat for you to check it out, and there will be a link in the description if you feel like submitting your game. You know what else that game is being
involves
submitted
games
to the world? Bad segues.
Yeah.
505 Games, the creator of Terraria, and I am not on my shit today. That's the PC Gamer Weekender logo.
Yeah.
There you go, and that's the thing. Okay. Right now, 505 Games, they created Terraria, and you have Tech, do you have like a thing against Terraria?
No, I love it. I've played.
Okay, because you made it like.
Here's the thing. The thing with Terraria is I played it like a full-time job for like 5 months.
Okay, so you got burnt out on it.
Oh, hardcore! It's awesome.
That's your fault.
Yeah,
but no, like you made a big deal. Oh, it's another Minecraft clone, even though
no,
Terraria
I was making the
not.
joke because everyone jokes about how Terraria is a Minecraft clone, and now they make Portal Knights.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, well, thank you for announcing Portal Knights.
Yeah.
Is the game that they're coming out with as their new game, which is going to be coming to early access very soon on the 25th, actually. So in 20 days at the time of this recording. And it's actually, again, it's in the same vein as Terraria and all that sort of stuff, sandbox, survival, crafting.
More RPG.
But that's the thing that got me, and it's the RPG aspect of this. And, they have a good reputation. There's a lot, and we've talked about this before, there's a lot of these sandbox, crafting, survival-y type games that come out. The Minecraft-inspired, we'll just say, games that come out, and a lot of them are terrible, very unpolished, things like that. But they have a really good reputation through Terraria, and I'm sure they got plenty of funding for this game through Terraria.
I'm really, really excited. Like, Josh, I'm gonna be honest with you. When this comes out, fuck it, I'll just buy it for us, and we can play it together.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not even kidding. Like,
I'll play Terraria with you ever get back into it, because
all right,
cool. I mentioned earlier, that
Yeah.
I'm terrible at the game, and I don't know what I'm doing. So I need someone to hold my hand.
I'm not that good either.
Well, at least you know what to do. I'm literally like, I walk there and I'm like, okay, until an eyeball kills me. But anyway, it's going to have 4-player cooperative mode. It's in 3D, and the RPG elements is what really got to me. That I thought, oh, this is really cool. And of course, I just thought it'd be cool because there's a lot of fans of Terraria and 505 games in general that we should let you know.
Speaking about games that I really want to play, Starr Mazer, which was a successful Kickstarter about a year ago, just released that you will be able to use, I guess they're shipping a program, like an editor within the game that'll let you like pose the characters and like film with them. Is that what I'm? Is that
it's
what,
basically you're making like your own. It's like a choose your own adventure
with all the stuff
through the Starr Mazer program.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're taking place in that Starr Mazer style, the Starr Mazer universe, which is really cool. That kind of 80s adventure, sci-fi adventure type of thing. And for those of you who don't know, you want to explain what Starr Mazer is, because you probably
Starr Mazer
you're a big fan of
is
it,
is the shmup RPG / point and click. It's like
really
a point and click adventure shmup, and I love shmups and I love point and clicks. So why not have both?
It's a cool blend. I've not seen it before.
I haven't either, and that's why I backed it.
We first saw it at MacFest last year.
Yeah, we met with. You can check out the video if you search Starr Mazer on IndieGameRiot.com. You can totally find the interview that we had with Austin and the musician, one of the musicians for the game. But you get to make your own Starr Mazer game.
Once you get your poster for Starr Mazer, you're gonna get a picture of that on Twitter or something.
I'm super excited about that. One thing that I will say about this is that this just turned this game into something way bigger than it was already going to be.
This is if you want to know how to, as a dev, if you want to know how to grow your community, this is a really good way if you can put the resources into it.
In the first episode to make this show,
to make a community be able to build with your game.
In the first episode of the show, I talked about Knit Stories. It was either episode 1 or episode 2. It
was wild.
And that game, it's like a platforming game with like 1 or 2 levels, but the entire game was community-based levels that people made that you can download. Like, we're talking, if you want to get somebody into making games, you can succeed in adding game-making materials in your game. Even if it's just the engine and that art,
I mean, just
it's a
like
stepping
the
stone, and it's
modding
really-
community. That's why
exactly.
things not Project Research, Prison Architect.
Nope, not us.
Yeah, Prison
Yeah.
Architect won the Riot of the Year last year, or for Rob and anyone else who's new, which is our like Indie Game of the Year award that we give out every year. It won the award from last year because of the community it's built, because there's a huge creative community around it, and that's what made Minecraft huge, obviously. All the modding and all the things that people can do with this game. So if you want to build an audience around your game, or I should say a community around your game, being able to manipulate the game and create something with it is a really good way to do that. Of course, that takes extra resources, time, and of course not every game.
And it might not even work.
Yeah, not every game you can do that with, but it's still a cool thing to do if you can.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm super excited about that.
You know, this is cool.
Something that you should be super excited about if you are a game developer. IndieCade East is currently accepting submissions for games. So submit your game to IndieCade. What?
Just so you know, too, I think I mentioned this in a previous episode, but IndieCade East, they did change their dates. It was previously like in the end of February, but they have changed it to the spring, so it's currently April 29th through May 1st. Just so you know, before you're going to go submitting your game and be like, oh, wait, I can't make that. Of course, you think that you would be able to kind of assume since that they're now opening up game submissions that it's not going to be happening in just 2 weeks. But
I you know what, disregard the link that I sent, because I do believe that I sent the wrong IndieCade application.
I'll send it
to
them. But continue, please.
Oh yeah, so IndieCade East, Josh went there last year. It's basically just an entire convention filled with indie games and a lot of professional career guys and gals doing talks and collaborating. And
we sent Rev to IndieCade, like the main IndieCade on the West Coast. But it's IndieCade East is a little different. It takes place like the IndieCade on the West Coast a lot of it takes place outside. Excuse me. Whereas IndieCade East is actually inside of a museum in New York City. The Museum of Moving Image, to be specific. And it's kind of a different feel from what I got from Rev. Rev's IndieCade is more of a party, kind of closer to like what MagFest was for us. IndieCade East is very... I don't want to say, like, it's not like stuffy, stuck up or anything like that, but it seems more professional.
It's that East Coast
surrounded.
Sort of
feel. Well, you usually go to conventions, and a lot of the people there, the majority of people there are fans, not press, right?
Yeah.
Whereas IndieCade East seemed like it was mostly devs and press networking event, is what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
Whereas, although because it's inside of a museum, people who had access to the museum had access to the exhibits and things like that, because it was part of the museum at that point. So, and that's the other cool thing, is that you have the chance to put your game in a museum. You know what I mean? It's not. It's not just that you're showing off your game, but you're kind of like showing your game as a part of indie game history in that way. Yeah, you know what I mean? Which is kind of cool. And there's been other events like that, but IndieCade is probably the biggest name in that. So it's you get your chance to put your game in front of a lot of industry professionals, such as myself.
Talking about getting your game in front of industry professionals.
Yeah, really.
We're here with Rob.
Yep, Rob Buchheit. I'm going to pronounce it. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't even try. Notice how I didn't even try.
Of Nectar Game Studios and at NectarGS, if you want to follow them on Twitter. He's one of the devs, excuse me, of Project Resurgence. And actually, I just want to... Project Resurgence, is that the full game, or is that like a working title?
That is the working title right now. We've been toying with some options for like what we would want a full title to be. We're going to clear it with our fans first and everything. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you really want to have the word project in a finished game title.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify.
That. Yeah.
Sorry, my throat is killing me. So the first thing with I want to say about Project Resurgence, so you're on Kickstarter right now. You have 5 days to go. You are asking for for $160,000. You have $137,963. Hope you have taxes, by the way, covered on that. Because actually, there was an interesting Twitter conversation with Indie Gamer Chick, who we're friends with, about Kickstarters and people not having enough to cover taxes because they forget about them.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're really, really close. And you were earlier. You had expressed during the intro that we forgot to record. You had expressed the stress about not being able to hit the mark because you're like, I don't know yet. We got 22-ish thousand to go.
Yeah.
But I will say, before we get into the questions, if you don't hit that, the fact that, and you mentioned, you can start over, but when you start over, you not only get, the same amount of time that you had before, the 30 days or what you had it set up for initially, but the people that backed it, the majority of those people are going to back it like immediately because they're already fans of your game. And then you have another additional however many days for more people to show up. So, and that's why a lot of people end up getting that the second time around. We know, like Jay Tholen from Dropsy had that same thing happen to him. So don't be discouraged. Yeah. We just want to give you encouragement. The game's really cool.
Good. You already made it so far. Like that's a lot of money alone. Like $138,000. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So initially,
it's weird.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like I was just talking to my fiance earlier today about we were saying oh, we just got 20,000 left until we make it, and that's a small amount of money, Yeah. Like that's more than that's my yearly income for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
It's crazy thinking just that much money all at one time.
Yeah.
It's really odd.
Don't blow it on dumb shit, obviously.
Yeah, I heard there was another Kickstarter.
Yeah.
The liquor and strippers one.
Yep.
Did you hear about that?
It was what, like Ant Simulator?
Yeah.
And basically this guy and his friends made a company, and then he signed his friends on. Basically the friends were like, here, sign us up as consultants so we can still control the money, but you don't but we aren't part of the company or something. And then he came out and he was just like, yeah, they billed everything to the company, took all the money, and there wasn't going to be a game. Sorry.
Yeah, people are going to get sued. So,
they're going to get sued because the guy left.
That guy.
Yeah, so, I feel really bad for him too.
At first glance, Project Resurgence really reminds me of some of the. You say a new old school CRPG, so it reminds me a lot of things like Baldur's Gate and the Fallout games with a little bit less strategy oriented. But so is that where you kind of the inspiration that you got from that? Or what is the game in your own words?
I mean, the fastest way that I can describe it is it's Baldur's Gate meets The Witcher plus guns.
Ooh.
I mean,
all right.
Yeah, so we got magic and technology in the same world coexisting. They're not opposite forces. You can mix them together to have crazy magic tech. And
that's great.
Our whole big thing is about freedom for the player. You can create any kind of character you want. We don't have a class system, so you can mix and match skill sets to play however you want. So we just want to give people a lot of freedom about how they make their character and how they play the game, and then the game reacts to the choices you make. Oh. So
that's a big game to make.
This is really
Is
it one thing through all the Kickstarters that we've witnessed and things like that. We talk about scope and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's scope a little. Important. I will say it's honestly a little frightening. When people start, because it's exciting because all that is really cool, the ideas, but it's a little frightening because it's can you actually do it? So what to kind of ease the minds of those who are kind of on the fence about backing it, what can you tell them that will reassure them that you can get these things done, the promises that you're giving?
One of the things.
Good.
One of the things is the talent we have on the team. If you check out the page, there's a link towards the bottom about our team, and one of our updates we go a little more in depth. But we have a lot of talented people, a lot of AAA people who've wanted to work on a passion project. We have a guy who worked on actual Planescape Torment and Fallout, one of the artists for that. So like these are guys who like they've been in the industry, they've been doing AAA games, and they just wanted to get back to something more passion driven and creative. And we've just been really lucky about the people who've been willing to help us out like for free. Like this has been a volunteer project for the last 3 years for me.
You guys have a lot of
experience
big
and talent,
games
man.
on here. Holy crap!
Yeah,
Tim in our chat mentioned he worked on Planescape tournaments or tournament, I should say.
Oh, awesome.
He used to
Fantastic.
be a AAA dev.
Used to be.
Well, and then he went indie. So there you go.
You never stop being AAA.
Yeah.
Are you using like a D&D kind of a rule set or?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is that like, so we grew up playing like Planescape Torment and Baldur's Gate and Fallout. I mean, a lot of the guys on my team, I actually found them a bit later. Like, I mostly grew up playing consoles and stuff, but I found these games in college, and it really like fell in love with the freedom and everything, like just getting lost in these worlds, and all the stuff you could do. I totally lost what your question was. Oh yeah, the D&D rules.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, like we're also big. So those games were directly influenced by like D&D tabletop type rules.
Yeah.
And a lot of us have played a lot of tabletop games as well, and like you can't get more freedom than you can in a tabletop game, where you're like, no, I don't want to go there. I'm going to go over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've looked at those kind of games a lot for inspiration on how to do our mechanics on how you set up a character, how you level up, how you learn new abilities, and that kind of stuff. So we have a lot of reference out there for mechanic systems that work really well together and what works and what doesn't. So since we're so passionate about this genre, like we've been playing them our whole lives, so that coupled with the talent and the experience that we have makes us really confident that we can deliver on this.
And the fact that it just makes a great combat system. It's like, all right, there's a percentage out of 100 that this thing's going to do a certain amount of damage. All right, it did. Cool.
Yeah.
and that's great. That's the combat system.
Yeah, I mean, with a computer, it does all the number crunching for you like that. So it's pretty easy.
You mentioned kind of the whole like creating your own character, and that's one of the best things about these kinds of games is that you can put yourself into it. And
or play
immerse yourself into the story. You can be whoever you want.
About, like all these RPGs is like pick one of 4 characters, and it's like, oh well, I guess I'm playing that role. Whereas in this game, you're playing
really
your
tailor
role,
it to yourself,
like whatever you want.
And one of the like in your little tagline underneath your video on Kickstarter, it says "Fight, Sneak, Persuade, Survive" at the end of it. And one of the things that a lot of like for instance Fallout 4, a lot of people are criticizing it for not being able to have additional options outside of just blasting your way through enemies. And I always enjoyed the charisma aspect of these games. So are you like really kind of giving a full balance to all these different aspects? Like, am I going to be able to persuade through a lot of parts of this games?
Yeah, I mean that's our intention, is that if you want to build that kind of character, you can do that like totally through the game. Like I can't promise like an entirely non-violent playthrough right now where you could totally avoid combat.
Right. Well, some combat's fun, but you know, I like the balance where I don't have to. I enjoy the where how the path can be kind of taken off off the rails a little bit.
But yeah, I mean, we want to be able to talk your way out of combat like as much as possible.
Awesome.
So if you don't want to fight, you can try and sneak or talk your way or both through those situations.
I have to go to the chat because the folks at home who are listening to the recorded version of this need to hear this. Tim Donnelly in the chat just typed, wait, you guys have Chris Chris mother effing Jones 3D modeler?
Yep.
What the
I was
F?
just about to ask. I was just about to ask if he knew him.
Ask Chris about Nightwing.
Nightwing, okay.
Nightwing.
Before I forget too, I have a question from the audience that they typed in earlier. Do you think that because you're asking, as far as Kickstarters go, outside of like the big name Kickstarter type things like Double Fine, you're asking for quite a bit of money, $160,000. Pedrosoft in chat was asking, do you still think it's a small budget for a game in this genre? or are you looking for like a full budget? Do you think this is a full budget that you need to make it the best that you possibly can?
That's a difficult question because I mean RPGs are big games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the game are the big RPGs like the Skyrims and the Dragon Ages and stuff. Like those are many hours of time investment. And I mean that's part of the reason that we're doing ours episodically. Like just because we're a small team, we don't have like this is our first real project. We don't have a bunch of funds that we can draw on to make this thing. So part of the reason we set the goal the way we did is so that we can make a really good first episode, which is the first main story arc. Like it's the first, it has a beginning, middle, and end. It's not just like a chunk of a story. Like it's its own satisfying conclusion. Then you move on to the next story.
Module.
Okay,
Yeah, like
cool.
so it's like
it's kind of like running.
Next episode.
It's kind of like running when you're running a tabletop campaign.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
exactly.
okay, I have this quest that I'm going on. You finish it, and then you come up with another one. Kind of like
right.
that.
So the characters carry over, and you usually go to a different part of the world and stuff. But you're still maintaining progression, and sometimes a larger plot is uncovered over the course of many campaigns. You know,
That's awesome.
that's how we're like.
I'm really
a lot of
excited
people
for
hear
this.
episodic, and they get scared, like, oh, I hate episodic. But like this was our plan from the very beginning when we first started doing this like 3 years ago. Like we built the story, the story and the world around taking place in 5 episodes. The other cool thing.
Oh, go ahead. I'll let you
Okay.
finish.
The other cool thing that we think is going to happen from this is it gives us a lot more time to interact with our fans and get their feedback on what they liked and what they didn't like about episode 1 and make those changes for episode 2. So our fans are getting exactly what they want.
So do
I mean, they
you
won't
have? Yeah.
Quit interrupting
Say
me.
Sorry.
You'll be able to play like the whole story like front to back. Like it's going to take the development time to get the next episode out, but we think
Wow.
it's just going to make each episode that much more polished and satisfying from the feedback we get.
So about how many hours are you predicting that a module would take on average? Like an episode.
My ballpark right now is like 5 to 10 hours per
Okay.
episode.
Wow. Okay.
That's for a single playthrough.
Awesome.
So I mean, since we have all this like different choices and stuff, you can play through it with a different character, making different choices, and have a very different experience.
Cool. And
multiply that as many times as you want.
are you planning on do you have a price point that you're allowed to say yet for the first episode?
Sure. I mean, our Kickstarter, our basic reward tier is $15, and like that's what episode 1 is going to retail as well. So for the Kickstarter, you get the benefit, you get the soundtrack for free, and then you get all the other Kickstarter related content that we promised. So the first episode is going to be 15. The following episodes are going to be 10 each. So the full retail price of all 5 episodes is going to be $55, but you can get it for $50 right now on the Kickstarter, if you believe in us that much that we can make 5 episodes.
Are you planning on maybe like doing a kind of a season pass kind of a thing, or are you just going to sell it each individually?
Yeah, I mean, like one of the rewards on the Kickstarter is the season pass, so that gives you access to episodes 2 through 5 now, and any DLC we give later. So like we are planning to some of the Kickstarter rewards right now. Like there's a Kickstarter specific talent and a couple items and stuff. Like we're planning to make those like DLC later. Like they'll cost a bit more, but we're trying to avoid kind of the idea exclusivity for the Kickstarter. Like we don't want people to feel like they missed out on stuff because they hear about us early enough. Mm-hmm. So like we definitely want to reward our backers, people who believe in us now, but we don't want people to feel like they missed out later. They're just going to have to pay a little bit more.
That's like a that was a big discussion that we had on the show like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah, about other crowdfunding campaigns where they have backer exclusive in-game items that wouldn't be accessible to other players, but it
just seems kind of like not fair if you didn't hear about it for some reason. But
right,
if you're making as long as you're making it available, you know.
Yeah, and
like
fair.
we definitely don't want people feeling like they missed out or like you have to pay to win or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're treating
good.
our whole campaign as an early bird, essentially. Like we're trying to avoid any of those kind of like slimy sales tactics. You know, like it's all about like backers come first, like open, honest communication, and giving these guys
Yeah.
a game that they're really gonna love.
And that's what makes money.
Updates and constant
Yeah.
communication, very important
Yep.
for
Oh,
good
yeah.
faith. I do want to point out that if any of you have $10,000 lying around, they do have a $10,000 reward tier that one person can get. So they only need a little over $20,000 left. Drop
Yeah.
$10,000 down.
One person already backed at that level, actually.
Oh, really?
And I talked to him, and he's like, I just wanted to help the project. I didn't really. He wanted to remain anonymous, so he didn't care about some of the rewards. About like, my co-founder, Co-Carnage, is a Twitch personality. If you've heard of him, but one of the rewards is like you get to go on his show live and like play whatever you want and stuff like that. So this guy didn't care about any of those rewards and that kind of publicity. So he's like, I just want you guys to have the money. So I'll scale back to a different reward tier, and I'll just donate the rest of it. So
cool.
That was pretty fantastic.
Wow.
And so we left it open for another person to get the 10,000 if they really want it.
Kudos to that guy for being supportive. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
seriously.
But yeah, drop
Super
$10,000, guys. Come on, we gotta get this done.
That's
Please do.
come on. Like if someone's willing to put that kind of money on the line, like you have to. Like do it. Come on.
Yeah. So, and also another thing for aspiring indie devs or anyone who's looking to make a Kickstarter, and I think we mentioned this to you back when we covered it on our Peep Show segment, that this is a very well set up
it's great.
Kickstarter.
Thank you.
If you're looking to set up a Kickstarter, use this Kickstarter as an example. I don't know if you guys did it yourself, because I know there's like a lot of
I did it.
PR companies
All
out
me.
there.
Really?
Very good job.
Good job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
About a year.
You
of
followed all the rules. You've got
Thank you.
gameplay in the first 20 seconds. You didn't ramble on too long. It's not cheap looking. All the graphics look great.
Yeah, very well organized.
You just
and
went down our
everything.
checklist and was like, all right, this is the stuff that Indie Game Riot likes. Let's put it in the...
You didn't go
Oh,
crazy.
fantastic.
You didn't go crazy with the reward tiers either. Some people
Yeah.
have like
Good.
tons, and it kind of gets overwhelming. So you did a really good job.
Yeah, people keep asking us to add like reward tiers for like very specific combinations of things, and I was like, well, that's what our add-ons are for. Like you can add those to anything. So I don't feel like we need to make a new reward tier for like
Yeah.
two specific add-ons we're already offering. But anyway,
is there anything first of all,
But-
do you want to do Rev's stupid ass question?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Do you do you fold or crumple your toilet paper?
His face. You fucking kidding me?
I guess it's more of a fold.
Okay. All right. There you go.
All right. Well, we'll
You're
be
welcome,
watching.
Rev. All right.
You heard
next
it here
question.
first.
And the other question that's more appropriate, we ask everyone who comes on the show, since your time in the indie game community, whether it be developing or even just like an experience that if you've ever been to a convention as a fan or a developer, anything like that. During your time in the indie game community, what is your most favorite, like what is your most favorite moment that you've experienced?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, because I've been in the indie community for a while. Like I've been working on this for 3 years. I've made student games at school and everything, and I've been to a few conventions, fan conventions and stuff. I think the best moment for me is when I showed the playable version of the game for the first time. Like I was in Columbus, Ohio. There's a small convention they started up there a couple years ago, and so we took a couple guys, took our computers up there, and we showed the game playable for the first time. And there was like a 2-day convention, and we just had like a rush all day on Saturday, people sitting down and playing it. And they're like, oh, this reminds me exactly of Baldur's Gate. And like the art's so cool, and I love, like, it's just fun. I want to play more of it. And after 2 years of effort and like working part-time and blowing off other career opportunities and stuff, and just getting that feedback that people like this, that's the most rewarding part that I've been so far. But talk to me again in 5 days after the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have a good one.
I'm actually surprised. I mean, have you been approached by publishers or investors?
We've had a few people like say like they'd be interested. Nobody like throwing around numbers or anything yet.
Real scumbags or like actual places? I'm genuinely curious.
I don't know if definitively if they're scumbags or not yet,
Gotcha.
But like I've had a few people who were interested. They said they were interested in investing. We caught the eye of In Exile and Obsidian. Like they
Really?
yeah they gave us a shout out and stuff. And I was like, whoa! Like these are guys that we've loved for years and inspired us, and they know who we are and they like what we're doing. So that was pretty cool too.
That's awesome.
So
I mean, that would probably be an ideal publisher relationship for us.
I mean, because even if you weren't able to pick up the last 20,000 of this, I'd be very surprised if someone didn't pick it up. Because I mean, especially when you start talking numbers like these and you get this close, you're on the front page of Kickstarter, because you got the staff pick and everything like that. Usually, there's publishers that come by and want to scoop you up, especially when they see that much popularity for it. So I'd be surprised, but. Lastly, is there anything about the game that we didn't cover that you want people to know about? Also, if you want to like mention any websites, Twitters, all that sort of stuff.
Sure. I mean, you guys already dropped the Kickstarter link in. It's just Project Resurgence on Kickstarter. Our website is Nectar Game Studios. There's a quick link to the Kickstarter there and all our social media. We're on Facebook as Project Resurgence and on Twitter as NectarGS. We also started a Twitch channel just recently because we're doing team streams regularly. So like just like a couple hour chat like this where we'll tell people like real nitty gritty details about the game and take questions. We're going to do our next one on Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And what else? So yeah, I mentioned the game is all about freedom. It's got a magic technology spin. It's got a very kind of diesel punk aesthetic, which we think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can play like totally classless, any kind of skill set you want. You can be aggressive, sneaky, or talky, or any combination of those things. Let's see. It's episodic and it's built that way. I mean, it's meant to be that way from the very beginning. You control a party of characters in real time or turn-based combat. You can switch when you want.
That's awesome.
And
Real time.
see, we're trying.
Going real time. I can't wait to play the game. Sorry.
Yeah. What else?
I expect this fully to be done within 6 months of the Kickstarter finish. Just so you know.
Look at our timeline, man. No.
Hey, actually, that's a pretty. By the way, I guess we didn't touch on this, and I know this is the interview's winding down, but you guys are planning to ship January 2017.
Yeah, that's the timeline that we came up with.
Cool.
Awesome.
So like everything's laid
That's
out on
pretty
there.
soon. That's not very long to wait for something off a Kickstarter.
I mean, if you're one thing that's like a nice Kickstarter like this indicates is that you're organized. So we've always been we've learned to be very kind of skeptical of
as you should, yeah.
Of the release dates, and it's not like if you don't release it by then you're a liar. It's just because we understand how it goes. I mean, Tim Donnelly in the chat already pushed his game, and it's for good reasons because you want to get polished. You don't want to release something.
But
sloppy.
He didn't kickstart it, so
Well,
he doesn't. He doesn't have backers that are.
But you're getting my
mad.
point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get it.
That's not an aggressive release date. It's not like everything needs to go right for us to release on that date.
Right.
Like we gave ourselves some padding room for things to go wrong, for additional testing, all that stuff. So you should do to be responsible. So we're confident that we can get it out in a great form by that time. I mean, if anything disastrous
to do it, so.
I mean, if anything disastrous happens, we'll definitely let the backers know, and like we're gonna go to them first on like.
If you go on a bender.
Like, yeah, no, I mean if we blow all the money on liquor and hookers, like.
Yeah.
But no, definitely, we're always going to keep the backers in the loop and ask that, like, if things go wrong, like, ask them what they want us to do. Like, should we cut features or should we delay the game? Like, what do you guys want? And that's just been our plan the whole time. Like, open, honest communication, give the fans what they want.
Well, if you ever need beta testing,
awesome.
we're here.
All right.
I've broken so many games, mostly
Literally.
The ones that I've tried to make.
Yeah.
Well, again, this is Project Resurgence, working title by Nectar Game Studio. Please, 5 days left on their Kickstarter. Please consider getting them over the hump. They are almost there. We want to see this game made as soon as possible. To help them do that, please consider going back it. We will, of course, list the link in the description of the edited version of this, and those of you in the chat already have the link. So, thank you so much for joining us for the interview, and also for sticking around. You'll be here, and you're going to talk about the games coming up, such as the one in Starting the Riot.
This week on Starting the Riot, we have a game that a lot of people have been talking about. A few people have been playing it online, and now we are going to give our 2 cents on The Witness.
Or full dollar. Oh, shit. I forgot to do the mute. There you go.
Does everything work?
We're good now.
Okay.
There was
Were
sound
we bad
at first.
before?
No, there was sound coming from the YouTube video because I forgot to mute it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, so The Witness is a first-person puzzle game, and all of the puzzles revolve around you basically walking this line through more challenging and difficult mazes, sort of. But it throws in new mechanics, like there are certain objects that show up on the screen that have certain rules that you have to follow within the puzzle. There are times where instead of just doing the puzzle on the screen, you actually have to walk around and step on the puzzle. But it's essentially just all puzzles, walking around in a very beautiful, colorful environment in an engine that they built themselves.
So again, this is made by Thekla Inc., which basically might as well be AKA Jonathan Blow, because he's not the only developer, but he's the most famous developer of the game. He's the creator of Braid, which Tech so vehemently hates out of his 5 minutes of gameplay time.
It's more than 5.
There's something wrong with you. But anyway,
I like this game.
First of all, some definite pros to this game. It is a beautiful game. It's like someone did a watercolor painting that you can just walk around in. Very nice, and the music, much like Braid, is fantastic. I would listen to this.
The
game
whole
or no
ambience,
game.
the whole ambience is just amazing.
Very mysterious, and that's really kind of the premise. Without playing it, you wake up on an island and you don't know how you got there, and you have to kind of walk around and solve all the puzzles. That's what it comes down to.
You know what I'm going to say is my biggest complaint about this game?
What's that?
The audio cassette things that you pick up every now and then, don't stop.
Okay.
They're just they keep going, and you're like, oh, it's done. Oh, wait, no, it's not done. It's doing something else. Okay, there's more. And
well, what's wrong with it that you don't like to listen to it?
To the point. No, it's not that. It's just it was to the point where yesterday, Jesse was like, are you listening to Shakespeare or something weird poetry on your on the computer? I'm like, no, it's the game. I don't know. I just clicked on a thing and it's been yelling at me for 5 minutes. That's the biggest thing. But I mean that sort of plays into the artistic side of it. And this is one of the coolest puzzles that I've seen in this game. And I'm not gonna try to spoil anything, but so you're on the roof of this building after performing a puzzle, and if you look in a certain direction, there is a puzzle in the wall of this other building made out of leaves.
Well, that brings me to the
come
other thing.
on.
So on to things that people have been bitching about. First of all, I mentioned earlier about this game being successful, and I was talking to a lot of this stuff I'm going to bring up. I talked with Tim last night, or yesterday, I should say.
Uh-huh.
And this game, Braid, in its first year, made about $5 million, which is very successful.
Mm-hmm.
That was priced at about somewhere between 13 and 15. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
This game is priced at $40. The most expensive game that we've covered so far in this show.
Yeah.
Whether it's worth it or not, I really couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But I'm not to discuss that because I don't have an opinion on it. But the other thing is that the puzzles, first of all, the whole game essentially is puzzles.
It's puzzles.
And if you don't like puzzles, you're not going to like the game probably. And the puzzles are challenging.
But here's the beauty.
Well, yeah, you say obviously, but you should see the amount of people bitching about it.
It's I wanted a different type of game. But here's the thing. Is this not literally what Myst was? I mean, I guess Myst had more nuanced puzzle.
It's very Myst-esque, and I actually told that to Tim last night. But Myst, yeah, you're right, nuanced puzzles, and that's I think the main complaint that Tim was making, someone else earlier in the chat was making, and a lot of other people were making, is that the puzzles are very samey.
Right, but here's what it does.
You're drawing on a graph.
Yeah, but it's like it throws things at you. Like so if a game like Myst wanted to throw some of the crazy shit at you that's like simple but like crazy ridiculous that this game does, like using contextual clues in your environment to solve this puzzle with rules that you've never seen before. Like if they wanted to do that, they'd have to have walls of text. And this game does a really good job of being like, here are a bunch of puzzles, figure them out. And then, but so
it's almost zen-like to me.
So the reward, but the best part is that finishing the puzzles is very satisfying because they've done such a good job of making it feel like every single action has something that happened. Like, because usually in a lot of these puzzle games, it's like, I did a puzzle, I win, on to the next puzzle. Whereas it's like, okay, so. And every single time you do a puzzle, something lights up, and that just triggers something in your brain. But you do a string of puzzles, and then something happens, like a platform starts moving, or you're able to get onto an elevator, or there's a laser shining at the mountain in the game, and like it's those things that like make me feel like although the puzzles are very samey, they're more of the obstacle to get that like rewarding like answer, like yes, something is done and I did this awesome thing with all these puzzles and now I have to do that again and again and I'm really excited about it, you know?
Well, Tim made a good point last night about how it's kind of like it's almost trivial how they throw the puzzles at you, he's saying, where it's just like it's like here's puzzles for the sake of puzzles, you know what I mean? It's not really, and there's a sense of achievement that you're solving the puzzles, but it was something he was saying something like where I forget what the analogy he gave. But it was basically like if you put in a real world context, you know, it's like someone he was mentioning like turnstiles, I think it was.
Okay.
Like you buy your ticket, you go in, and then they still make you go through a turnstile and show your ticket again. You know what I mean? Right. They're just stopping you for the hell of it.
No, but I feel like so. I'm wondering, Tim, how much of the game did you play or watch? And he's in the chat right now, so I'm gonna wait for him to answer that because there is a bit of a delay.
The other thing that Prep was making. Oh, go ahead. Go for it.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we wait for him, but so I haven't played the game at all yet.
Okay.
But is there a narrative context for all these puzzles, or are you just like drop there and they're like puzzles?
So there is a broader there's a broader narrative that you sort of have to like find out, but
I mean, is there a reason these puzzles are there and you have to solve them?
No, solving the puzzles literally only exists to basically unlock more puzzles of the island.
Okay, but it's not like Portal where you have a very specific story-driven reason why you need to do this.
No, it's not like that.
You're unlocking more of the island, in which case allows you to learn more of why you're there. And you know, it's very mysterious in the fact that you're not really sure what's going on. But it's not. It doesn't seem to like there's no reason. Like it doesn't give you a reason like why there are puzzles. You know, like someone set them up for you for some reason. The other thing I wanted to ask you, Rob, was do you have experience making like puzzle kind of games, or you know, do you have like a personal opinion about how to design puzzles as a dev?
I've made one puzzle game. It was a student game called Pudge and Sludge. It was like a platformer puzzle game where you had this like vacuum arm. You're a little robot with a vacuum arm, and you had to pick up objects and move them and put them in certain receptacles and fight enemies to move forward. So it was pretty light on the puzzle elements. So I mean, I've always liked puzzles, but I haven't designed a whole lot of them. But I mean, I'm very much in the camp of like I think games need a strong story element. And there's plenty of people out there who are like games should just be games; they don't need story. But I like story, and I like I like there to be a reason, like why I'm doing the things I am in the game. Like that, Portal was fantastic for me in that respect. The puzzles were really good, the story made sense, and it was hilarious.
The other thing is, well, Prep in the chat was comparing it to Talos Principle, like it just looks different.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would go that far because Talos Principle was closer to Portal, I think, as far as puzzles go.
This is a little bit more. I don't think that this. I think basically what it's boiling down to is that not all games are for all people, and it's just weird being on my side because usually I'm like, I don't really like this game.
Usually you're the freaking hipster. That's why.
And now I'm like, I there's something about this game that makes me just feel really interested in the rest of the game. And yes, the puzzles are a little bit arbitrary sometimes. like I like how the puzzles are presented to me.
Well, the other thing, speaking of the puzzles, Jonathan Blow made Braid, and Braid was very unique in the puzzles.
Right.
You do the time bending and all that sort of stuff, and it was a different kind of puzzle game. Whereas this I've seen before. It's similar versions of these puzzles.
But I don't know. I didn't feel that Braid really.
Yeah, I mean, Braid had a story, but it was kind of disconnected.
Yeah, I feel like that is sort of what they do though, because I
was talking to Tech. I didn't mean for you to shut up.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the story in Braid was disconnected from the puzzles for the most part. Like you do a puzzle room and then you get a bit of story, and the puzzles were kind of connected in like a thematic way, but that was about it.
Right. So I mean, I don't know. The other thing one thing that is nice about this, like I mentioned, it's kind of zen like.
Yeah.
It's a very beautiful island, very nice music, and you're doing these puzzles. It's kind of like in the same way that people do puzzles.
Sudoku on the subway?
Right, like that kind of thing. Well, not on the subway, because that's a terrible place to do Sudoku. I've been on those New York subways. It was not fun.
But
we love the subway in Cincinnati.
I'm just trying to wrap my mind around if this game is actually just really dumb.
What?
No,
I want
hear me
Jonathan
out.
To pop up in the chat right
now.
Because
for real, I really like this game. but is it am I wrong?
You feel like it's a guilty pleasure and you haven't realized
I don't
it?
know, because I'm like, this game looks awesome, and now everyone's like, there are this many problems, and I'm like, I guess, but I didn't see those while I was playing, so they weren't really problems for me. But maybe.
Well, what it kind of came down to when I was talking to Tim at the end of it, we were kind of like, well, I think because Tim is not and he'll probably agree to this. He's not the kind of person that really is into these walking simulators / puzzles.
I wouldn't go as far as to say this is walking simulator.
But you know what I mean.
The biggest thing is that you can't jump.
But remember when we talked about I have no eyes or I have no mouth and I must scream?
Yeah. And he wasn't big on the.
He mentioned he's into the more survival adventure where things are constantly happening, whereas there's a lot of narrative, there's a lot of text or whatever, where it's kind of slow paced, and I think that it really does depend on the person, which is why I was mentioning to you'd think it'd be obvious where if you don't like puzzles, don't play this game, but people still complain about it when they buy the game and are like, well, I didn't like the puzzles because I don't like puzzles.
It's a puzzle game
in that case. But so I think it really does kind of go to a niche audience, and he mentioned too that Jonathan Blow kind of has a fan base, so it's kind of guaranteed that there's going to be a certain amount of people, and that kind of goes back to his sales numbers, where I was mentioning earlier, Braid made about $5 million in the first year. This game made $5 million in its first week. Part of that has to do with because the other game was $15. This game is $40.
Jesus.
That's part of it.
It's hard. I feel like it's harder to sell a $40 game than it is a $15 game.
But that's the thing. He has a fan base that will drop $40 on his game because it's Jonathan Blow.
Man, this game is beautiful. It actually, I wouldn't vote for it for Riot of the Year, but I don't know.
I bet you a lot of people will.
Oh, of course. But like, and no, I don't think it's like the best game ever. I just feel like it takes me to a place where I can just sort of like be. It's almost like one of those Zen gardens.
I said that.
Is it your happy place?
No, I know you've said that, but like it really is like one of those Zen gardens where you're like, this could have been a Zen garden simulator, and it could have, each little block could have been like, make your Zen garden look like this, and if you didn't, you'd fail. That's essentially this game, but I love it. So if you like doing monotonous shit with ridiculous rules,
well, way to sell the game there, Rev.
Hey, it's fun.
Perfect tagline.
But it's true, but it's fun. Like,
if Jonathan Blow ever hears this, he's probably gonna tell you go fuck yourself.
yeah.
Apparently, and just so people know, because I mentioned this earlier in the show, apparently Jonathan Blow, part of his development process, I'm gonna switch back to our faces. Part of his development process was to hook up a catheter to himself and let everything go into a bottle. And he tweeted a picture of some bottle
God, he did?
with
Oh,
catheter
God.
tube coming out of it.
Why would somebody do? Oh,
So he could continuously.
I would never want to use a catheter on myself.
that's disgusting.
So he
That's
could
absolutely
continuously
disgusting. Why would he
develop
tweet-
the game.
Why would he tweet that? Why do people want to see? Wow.
He wanted people. He's bragging about his dedication, and that is one thing I will give Jonathan Blow in his defense. As weird as that is, and as probably unnecessary as that is, I will say the guy. And again, we talked about this. I talked about this with Tim, but the guy makes games he wants to make, and he is dedicated to his game. He's not just. I mean, he wants the money, obviously, but like Braid made $5 million. He invested that just about entirely into this game. You know what I mean? He's not sitting in some freaking big house.
Dude, you know that this game like could have been a walking simulator and not have any puzzles, and it would have been absolutely crap, but it would be beautiful.
I think for me, I would personally enjoy this. As the full game, even if all the puzzles are the same, as long as the puzzles continue to be challenging, as long as there's, even if it's all like the weird thing puzzle, you know, I think, and as long as there's something to discover at the end,
I feel like it switches up enough that it feels like you're not doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah,
maybe Tim feels that way. I can understand
and then
that,
on top of that, the aesthetic where it's just very relaxing. And at the same time mysterious, where it kind of pulls you on. You're like, what is happening right now? Where am I? Kind of in the same way that Myst did. So,
it doesn't have the same pull as Myst, but it's close.
So anyway, that is The Witness, $40 on Steam. It is currently, let me look it up. So
it is
right
30.
$40 on
I just
Steam.
had it up.
It is only for Windows. So not polygamous as far as OSs go. Sorry, Rev, if you're out there and still alive. Again, made by Thekla Inc. Made Braid previously. Go buy it if you like puzzle games. If not, shut the fuck up. And
it's not
you
for
know what
you.
else you need? You know what else you need to throw money at?
If you don't like,
if
you don't want to play a puzzle game,
you can always go down and see a peep show.
Yeah.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
This week on Peep Show, we have a game that is creepy. And I wish Rev was here to play it because I love it when he plays creepy games. It is called Rides with Strangers. Recently, the game actually, again, he's in our chat right now, our live chat, the dev. I saw that it was almost to Kickstarter fulfillment. Let me get the Kickstarter page up here. It was almost a full Kickstarter fulfillment. And then I saw Jacksepticeye had played it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that gave him a really big boost, so I'm glad, and congratulations on getting to your full goal. The goal was $25,000. You're currently at, or I'm talking to him directly, I guess. He is currently at $26,572 with 5 days to go. apparently start on the same day as your game, Rob. He's pulling funding from you.
It's a day after. It's 1 day after.
So they're planning on looks like they're planning on putting it on Windows, Mac, and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so consoles as well. Not
but I believe
PC
that the
Master
consoles are a stretch goal.
believe so. He can clarify in the chat.
Yes. If we reach the stretch goal of 32,000, we'll be able to do the PlayStation 4, Xbox One port.
Right.
And if they do that, all the backers can decide whether they want a PC, Mac, PS4, or Xbox One version. PC or Mac would probably be a little bit easier, but yeah, play it on your console.
So the point of this game is you're a girl who is trying to get to a job interview, and you need to hitch a ride because you're unable to get there due to failure of your automobile. And when you're playing the demo, because there's I don't know if it's publicly available. Again, he can clarify. But the demo, basically, the first stranger that you come across that you hitchhike with is a priest. And it's the creepiest priest I've ever heard. Like, I don't know.
He looks pretty creepy.
Hey man, I'm just saying. If you hear some of those weird stories about the middle of America, where these like communities just exist outside of federal law, like. I'm just saying, like, it can happen. Yeah,
true.
Like,
and
oh man,
it's too bad I can't play the audio because it's streaming a Let's Play, so someone's yapping over it. But the guy's voice is really like, he talks like, "My name is Father so and so, and welcome to my car." He has a babble in there and everything. If you get the ride with him, he'll start asking you questions and really creepy things that allude to him purifying the heretics. We'll just say that. And it's creepy in the first place, the atmosphere, but it is kind of it seems kind of horrorish too, because if you basically fail at your objective, whereas basically surviving the ride, I'm assuming you get killed, because what happens is if we fail, the guy turns on you and it scares you and the screen turns black. Obviously, there's not fully developed yet, because that's why they're in Kickstarter and everything like that. So it's up to him to really say what else is going to be added outside of what's listed on the Kickstarter. There are other hitchhikers that you can catch rides with. The first one is the father, obviously. If you either let me explain there in the gameplay. You just saw him turn on the person. Let me explain.
Jesus Christ.
Let me explain the mechanics. Once you're in the car, you can it gives you options to like mess with the radio or open the glove compartment. You also there's like a creep meter. If you look at him while he's talking to you, your creep meter goes up, and if it goes too high, it's an issue. So you kind of have to balance it. But at the same time, if you don't look at him, it's more of a chance that he'll like freak out on you. Also, he'll ask you questions, and you have like a multiple choice type of thing. And if you don't answer the way he wants to hear it, again, more likely he'll freak on you. You can also click on the speed signs that you see on the road, and that'll make the car go faster, so you can get to your destination quicker. There's also parts where it continuously builds up, and you're like, man, I'm going to die. And watching some gameplay of this, I saw where it got to this one question, and every time you get to that question, you end up going through a tunnel. So, because you have this option to tuck and roll and jump out of the car. But once you're in this tunnel, I don't know, I haven't seen what happens if you try to jump out in a tunnel, but I can only imagine that's not good. Because you're in a tunnel and there's a wall right there. So it kind of like, and once you get to that point, it kind of, you're like, I can't do anything now. I'm stuck in this place with him. And there's also really good audio in this game where, obviously the voice acting is creepy, but there's sometimes you'll hear like thumps or like muffled screaming, what sounds like in the trunk, things like that. Nice. But anyway, so if you decide to jump out or pass on him, there's other hitchhikers in the game. There is, let me get down here. the Reverend, of course. The Father actually is what it's called. The Dungeon Master, and I haven't seen any of the other characters. I've only seen the Father, so I don't know how the other ones go. But the Father, the Dungeon Master, which is, you can use your imagination who that looks like if you're not looking at the Kickstarter. And let me actually go ahead and link that in the chat for anyone who's interested in also supporting that. The Nympho, which is obviously a sex-crazed woman, and the Gentleman, who looks like dude from 50 Shades of Grey. And the Shidu, who they don't have a graphic for yet, but is being planned. There's some really cool...
plus 20 more strangers that they're going to be.
Yeah, there's some really cool additional strangers and things like that and stretch goals that they want to add on. What's also really cool is that if you... the top backer, $4,000 already gone. But you can actually design your own... I believe it's you can design your own hitchhiker, or not hitchhiker, stranger. Thank you. Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you $4,000. So with that package, you get to complete a custom stranger, and you can design the character after your physical self, or you can use your imagination. But I like the idea if I was able to drop $4,000 on this game, which someone already did, so you actually can't do it right now. There's only one available of that. But if you drop $4,000 on this game, I want to see what myself would be like that in the stranger, like how I would act. You know what I mean?
The creepy version of you.
Yeah, like hello there.
You should be like, yeah. Can I just do my own voice?
Yeah.
Let me
like, hey, what's up? You're going somewhere cool.
Hey.
The best
have you
game
checked
ever.
out this cool? Hey, have you
10
checked
out
out
of
this
10.
cool website?
10 out of 10.
It's called Indie Game Riot.
Yeah.
You should go check it out.
Just an advertisement.
What you don't like games? Get out of my car.
Oh yeah, the guy just tuck and rolled.
You don't like Braid?
But yeah, rides with strangers. This game is like a weird horror that I
This is a
haven't
really
seen before.
uncomfortable horror. It's
It's
not
awesome.
I mean, there's like a jump scare aspect when the guy freaks out on you, but it's not.
But that's not
what really. It's
Yeah.
the dread.
That's
that it
the
gives you.
release. That's
Right.
the I fucked up. That's the scary part. But like the feeling that you get during is way more important
Right.
than when it finishes.
And if we're missing
Sounds
anything,
so dirty.
if we're missing anything, Dr. Das, feel free to let us know in the chat there. That's his screen name. So now everyone can bombard him on Hitbox.
Reflexstudios.com or Kickstarter.com. Rides with Strangers. There are 5 days to go. They've made their goal, but I think they've got some cool stretch goals out there for you. Normal
Get
price
those
of the
stretch
game.
goals.
For $10, you get the full retail DRM free copy of the game for PC or Mac.
Yeah.
There you go. $10. And then you
Hitchcock
can
horror,
get,
he calls it.
what's that?
Hitchcock horror, he calls it. It's good. That's actually, you know what?
Makes sense.
It is kind of
Yeah.
Hitchcocky. Now
Yep.
you mention that.
Brilliant.
And that.
But
and-
it's not like look at this Alfred Hitchcock inspired.
But it's like
Hitchcock
it's
inspired
subtle,
game.
like,
It's like
you know what I
exactly.
mean? Yeah.
That's,
One of the
that's-
strangers
it's
should
great.
look like Hitchcock.
You know if you made the father
Hello.
fat, it kind of would, and took the.
But they
lashes
already
away.
have. But they already have the Dungeon Master.
Or I guess if
I'm
he
curious if
shaved.
he's taking any flack for that. Like
What?
the one stranger he like advertised that was in the demo is like a father. Like if there's any been like religious outcry or anything from that, seems like it could be a touchy subject.
Touchy subject. The father. Never mind.
I didn't. Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh well.
A little bit, it says, yeah.
He says the
That
whole
sort of controversy is good for sales.
the whole vision behind the game is to build up suspense and make people uncomfortable. So yeah, that's the whole point of it. Really good concept. I'm really excited. Do you remember Glitch Hikers?
I do.
It's like
I
Glitch
think this
Hikers,
is- I
but
think this is actually like
but it
a
makes you
game-
shit your pants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Glitch Hikers didn't really have the level of game that this game actually has.
Yeah. Well,
You
yeah.
know? It was more of like an experimental title,
It's
whereas
like-
this is
yeah.
a lot more like you can actually play this.
Yeah, Glitch Hikers was an experience. This is experience plus new underwear. Is really what it is.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So anyway, I'm really excited about this game. I hope we get to play the full release when it comes out. And any other questions you guys have about this?
No, I think I'm good.
Awesome.
I think we talked about it.
Rise of Strangers. Go back it.
Yeah, seriously.
Link in the description. And you know what else we're going to do because segues.
I mean, if the car breaks down and you're stuck and you have to wait for someone to pick you up, you can always play a game on your phone from Going Mobile.
Oh.
This week on Going Mobile, or if you don't want to play this on mobile, you can also play it on Steam. But this week on Going Mobile, we have Crashlands, where you play as Flux, a galactic truck driver whose shipment was stolen by an intergalactic alien. You crash on an alien planet, and you have to figure out what's going on. This might seem a little bit like Don't Starve, but there is a lot. It's very different from Don't Starve. For one, the combat is pretty awesome.
So you're comparing it to Don't Starve?
No, only in style, because Don't Starve has a similar look and you can like craft things and build stuff, but it's totally different in basically every possible way other than the aesthetic that it has.
Okay.
The run animation does look a little bit the same.
You know, it's
flailing arms and legs.
But
it's like Don't Starve except for everything else.
But they streamlined everything. So it's like to break that tree, it takes 2 hits, but you only have to click once. And then or I don't know if you can. I'm looking at some of the GIFs on their website. But yeah, it's like there's a tree, you can click it, all right, it's first level. You click it once and it's done, even if it takes 1 or 2 hits. And like all the attacks are like telegraphed with those red markers, so you have time to like get away, but you have your own attacks, and then you can get pets, and there are so many amazing quests. Like, oh my god, you can act like this is a game. There are quests. You talk to people, you go places, you adventure, you teleport, you kill things for people, you collect these items, there are boss fights. It's like on your phone. Come on!
It is available on Steam.
Games needed.
It is available on PC on Steam, but
me.
It's also available on iOS and Android.
Yes.
And so that's why it's on Going Mobile. And
Yeah,
to
so-
see a game like this on those platforms is really nice.
Yeah. Let me tell you, $5 is more than absolutely worth it. Like, this game is like, when I first saw this game, I was like, oh, that's cute. I guess, you know, they did a game. But
I
then like
see now, by the way, about the Don't Starve comparison.
yeah, it's just aesthetically sort of similar, but honestly, that's where the comparisons of these two games stop. Like the dialogue is really funny.
Would you say it's deeper than Don't Starve?
Of course.
Really?
Don't Starve is a survival sandbox game. This is like a story. You have a large quest, and you have to do basically anything it takes to do that. And so there are sandbox elements with like building your house and upgrading, your storage and lighting and your weapons and stuff. But then there are all these, creatures in the world that you can talk to and do quests for. And there are so many different little stories, and the map is absolutely enormous. There's like, you can fish, and
would you say that it's more or less difficult than Don't Starve?
I would say it's
because Don't Starve is pretty
difficult. The same level of difficulty, but in different ways.
Okay.
So like this game is difficult in the sense that you can't just do everything right off the bat. Like, you actually have to like make yourself better and craft things and go in not a certain like strict order, but you do have to do certain things before you can beat some of the bosses, like because the enemies start getting really hard, and if you don't like upgrade yourself and get better weapons and get better stuff and learn new skills, you're not going to be able to like beat some of the some of the enemies. On top of that, you know how I mentioned pets? It's not just one-dimensional. Oh yeah, you got a pet. You have to hatch it, and you have to be there at a certain amount of time after it's been like incubating to hatch it. And then if you get like a certain number of items, you can what do they call it? It's a funny word where you like evolve them. And they become like a little bit stronger, and it's like this big thing, and it's hilarious.
Okay.
But like there's a lot, and also inventory system, just super easy. You collect stuff and it's there. Like, that's what you have it. You don't have to worry about it. The game takes care of it.
Okay, so is it limited or?
I don't think so. Not really.
Didn't sound like it was.
It's just there. It's just
carry as much stuff as you want.
Yeah, carry as much stuff as you want, and it's already. You don't have to like. All the recipes are already built in. You don't have to drag and drop anything. It's actually really friendly for mobile.
So what's the most? What would you say is the central mechanic of the game? Is it crafting? Is it survival? Or is it the story?
It's the RPG elements. It's the story.
Really?
I genuinely think that because like survival isn't the main focus. Yeah, it's there, but it's not there like in Subnautica where you actually have to survive.
Right.
It's more of a
It just helps you progress.
Yeah, it's a little. Well, I mean, you do still have to stay alive, obviously, because you will take damage and you will die a lot. But it's more forgiving in the.
Do you have like hunger and sanity like you do in Don't Starve, or like just health?
No, it's just health.
Okay.
So you only lose health by combat.
I believe so. I could be wrong, but
so survival aspect isn't really there. It's more collect items to help you progress and to help you fight
it's more
enemies.
It's more of like survival in a Terraria sense than than like a Don't Starve sense.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. You can pick it up. Yeah. $5 on Steam. I believe it is a little bit more. Yeah, on Steam it's $15. But on iOS and
I wonder
Google
if there's
Play,
like limited features though on.
you know,
It sounded like they have crossplay. Like you can go same game back and forth. 500
craftable items.
Well, then why wouldn't you buy it for $5
inventory.
on iOS and then go play it on Steam?
Well, it's because the Steam version is like you can play it on your computer.
Yeah, but
or do you have to buy both versions for that? So it's like $20 then.
It would be $20 if you want to play it on your phone and on the PC.
Okay, so you have to buy multiple copies, but it can carry over.
Yeah, but it's worth it. Have you seen the map in this game? It's huge.
Oh, he just showed a little bit of it when he said
like
that.
it's absolutely huge. Like you see that little box that goes. You have to scroll a lot. The map is enormous. And it's so enormous that there are like teleporting points.
Oh, there's like
so
there's like a little encyclopedia too.
Yeah.
Looks like.
There's so much, and there are multiple different biomes that you can explore. Different types of like, yeah, it's very. There's so much game here. Like when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's cute, and then it just kept going and going and going. And it's like, is there really more? Are you giving me more Crashlands? That's all I can think of.
Made by Butterscotch Shenanigans, one of the better dev names I've heard. So good job with that.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for again, it's available on Steam, but for an iOS game or for a mobile game, that's why I put it in Going Mobile, because I'd like to see more games like this on Going Mobile instead of the fucking clones and the Bejeweleds and freaking Farmville clone, whatever they are.
I'm gonna say it. You're gonna be hard pressed to find a game on mobile that isn't as good as Crashlands for a mobile game. You can easily for now, but right now, if you want the computer PC desk experience in a game on your phone, play Crashlands.
There you go. You know what else gives you an experience?
IndieGameRiot.com, where you can find all the latest awesome news about indies and the community around them.
The end of the show, Tech, where we'll be talking about that information shortly.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for showing up at the show, all of you in the live stream, and those of you listening to the edited version, thank you for your support. If you would like to support us further, please consider going to patreon.com/IndieGameRiot and help fund my lessons to learn how to talk. I'm just kidding. That's not really a goal. But we do have a lot of really cool goals, so if you go there, you'll be able to see them all. It'll help us make the show better, the site better, and in general help us not improve, but make the indie game community a much more awesome place than it already is. So, again, patreon.com/IndieGameRiot. is the place to go for that. Thank you
Yeah,
for your
it's
consideration.
indie game. Damn it, Patreon.com/
That's right.
That's the whole URL. You have to type it in. If you go to the other one, it's a scam.
Yep. If you if you know someone who is an indie dev or making an indie game, such as Rob here, please contact us. Or if you know like some sort of news or anything like this, contact us. You can do it a bunch of different ways. First of all, we stream live on hitbox.tv/JaShinYa every Friday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you can chat with us directly in the live chat room thing area on the live stream, and we can respond to you in kind. You can also go onto Twitter at IGR Podcast or Facebook.com/IGR Podcast and get updates and chat with us there. Or you can just email us, contact@IndieGameRiot.com. Of course, all this information and more is on IndieGameRiot.com. Any last words, gentlemen?
I don't know. I'm excited to see what's next. I know we're starting to get into the slow season. But
I thought that it was a slow season
that's
already.
true. And then
this shit comes out.
all
these
this
games.
episode's like super hardcore, awesome games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got more too.
We'll see.
Maybe. I mean, this is going to be a good year. I can feel it already.
Yeah.
It's a good year for games.
Mhm.
And next year is going to be a good year for games too, because Project Resurgence will be happening. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, my closing thought is just 5 more days. If you like old school computer role-playing games with a lot of story and a lot of freedom, like, come check us out. Tell your friends. We need all the support we can get.
Yes,
And it looks
please.
good too.
It's awesome.
Thanks.
You don't have to deal with your with your Dungeon Master's poorly painted minis that he made in high school anymore. You can actually have a pretty image on the screen.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, say your goodbyes.
See you next time, guys.
Bye, guys.
Toodle.